Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan announced the University Grants Commission Draft Regulations 2025 on January 6th. These regulations set out the minimum qualifications required for appointing and promoting teachers and academic staff in universities and colleges. They are viewed as part of the UGC's recent efforts to implement the National Education Policy 2020. Two major changes in the draft regulations focus on vice-chancellor appointments. The first increases the central government's role in state-funded and state-run universities. The second allows non-academics such as professionals from industry, civil services, and public sector organizations to be appointed as vice-chancellors. These changes have raised concerns and questions about their purpose and potential impact. To discuss this further, we are joined by Professor Jawahar Nesan, a former Vice-Chancellor himself, to share what could be the implication of this. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And firstly, we would want to begin
Thank you, Akshita.
with knowing what is your opinion about the recent draft regulations by the UGC.
The recent draft regulation of UGC 2025, I think it is, as we expected, is nothing but the enforcement system to ensure that national education policy is implemented at the higher education. Say, this is talking about three major areas, the regulation. One is the qualification, the minimum qualification for academic staff, including faculty members, and recruitment of academic staff, and promotion, recruitment, promotion, and the other related conditions. So if you look at these three areas, throughout all the while, they are trying to, as envisioned in the national education policy, centralization, nationalization, and the other the overall generic vision of the national education policy, as mentioned, Indian-centric, Indian ethos. So these are all the major areas reflecting in this regulation. Say, if you look at the education, the eligibility for appointment of academic staff, you look at that, where they have mentioned there are a lot of other common things that they have been doing, that we have been doing in the academic sector. Say, in selecting, in recruiting faculty members, the eligibilities are mostly that they must have this kind of qualification, PhD or postgraduate studies and first degree, and then a number of papers, patents, and so on. These are all the nominal things. But in addition, what they have laid out as a desirable criteria, a preferable criteria, are Indian knowledge system. They expect the faculty members to demonstrate somehow some exposure and experience that they have accomplished in the Indian knowledge system. So Indian knowledge system means that whatever the Hindutva knowledge or the based on the Vedic culture and Vedic traditions, they are promoting all, like Vedic mathematics, Vedic science, and all of those things. The government is spending a lot of money on it now to promote research in that direction, to Indianize science, Indianize maths and technology, and so on. So if it is truly to Indianize education in letter and spirit, truly without violating the science and the laws of science, and already being accomplished since time immemorial, there is no problem with that. But the problem now is they are trying to supersede the existing knowledge system globally and try to convert them as if they are all Indian knowledge system. So that is the kind of reincarnating the existing global knowledge system into Indian knowledge system is what they are planning to do it in terms of in research and education and learning as well. So they are now saying that as one of the eligibility criteria, they are saying Indian knowledge system, some exposure and accomplishments in Indian knowledge system is welcome, is preferable. The other thing is, this has been mentioned in the national education policy. The other thing, important thing, beyond the nominal regular qualification criteria is language system. And they are trying to promote, they expect the candidates to demonstrate more than two or three languages of India. And eventually it will benefit the Hindi speaking people. And it will, undermine the South Indian languages. And it is not the South and North Indian languages, but it is that they are expecting more languages, some fluency in more Indian languages. That is one of the things mentioned in the national education policy. Indirectly, they are trying to influence it, even though the national education policy later on the final draft said that the third language is optional. But now indirectly, now they are influencing this. And also in nationalizing, in centralizing the education sector, especially higher education, they are trying to interfere into the recruitment process, into the promotion process, by bringing the central agencies into the process. Say, for instance, in the recruitment process, they have to bring the nominee of the UGC, right from assistant professor to professor and up to the top levels. And even in the promotion also, they are trying to bring in the nominee of the central government, normally the
Yeah.
state universities, the government universities, the chancellor is the governor. And the governor should place his nominee in the recruitment process, in the promotion process, and in the appointment everywhere. So that means where is the role for the state government? Say, take for instance the vice-chancellor appointment. In vice-chancellor appointment, there are three, the search committee is comprised of three entities. One is the nominee of UGC, another one is the nominee of chancellor. I mean, eventually it is the governor. And one person is the nominee of the syndicate or the board management, the apex body of the university. So that means the apex minus the apex board, of the three, the two are the nominees of the central agencies, the central government. And where is the role for the state then? And eventually they are indirectly trying to penetrate, infiltrate into every aspect of the governance and both academic and administration. And in this way, if it goes, then I don't think that I never seen in any part of the world this is the recruitment takes place like this. So even in the promotion, why do we need a promotion? In promotion, why on earth we need a nominee of the chancellor? The chancellor is not an operational body. The chancellor is an entity which is an ornamental. It is a honorary, entity, and wherein the vice chancellor is the important officer. And the university has its own, apex bodies like a syndicate, senate, academic councils, and many entities comprised of various stakeholders. And they have the ability to find, to search, and appoint the best talented faculty members. Why should we have everywhere the central government agencies are being infiltrated? And so that means it is like policing the total higher education sector by the central government agencies. And the other things like IITs, central universities are already in their hands, where they don't need any change. They never even proposed any changes in the IITs and Indian Institute of Science. And they are already ignored, and they have their own mechanism, which are in favor of the central government. And so because of that, they did not touch that. Okay, they are trying to look at, there is a scope for reforming the recruitment, the search process and promotion in this country. There are a lot of loopholes. We witnessed that. So what are the 21st century challenges in recruiting, appointing, selecting, identifying the faculty members, it is to ensure the diversity, because the 21st century is looking for a more diverse population represented in the academic sector. Only then we can meet the complex challenges, fostered, required by the 21st century workplace or 21st century society. So wherein it is a more diverse and complex in nature, wherein the teachers and the faculty, people involved in function in spearheading the higher education setting also requires the diversity. So where are the solutions? Where is the affirmative action? The interventions for affirmative action, the reservation, are to ensure that we recruit, we search, we ensure a diverse population being represented in the academic sector. So none is there. And with all these things, say, the other thing is very nominally, even the criteria you look at that, they are trying to just vague. Some of the criteria are very vague. In promotion, for instance,
Like?
they are saying that the search committee, the promotion committee, should look into beyond the accomplishments, the academic accomplishments like paper publications, this, that, many things. They should ensure that they continually learn through faculty development programs, attending conferences, seminars, and they are very trivial things. Eventually, without participating or equipping a faculty in multiples of dimensions, a faculty cannot improve. A faculty cannot develop himself or herself in this era. So these are all the basic elementary things that they have highlighted. They want to ensure that everywhere, even on minor small accounts, they want to infiltrate. They want to ensure that their criteria are being met in the selection process and also in the promotion. Say, what is the role of a chancellor? I do not know that. Is he a CEO of the university in the first place? How come the vice chancellor is selected by a panel comprised of 2/3 of the panel is represented by the central government agencies, and and that too, the shortlisted candidates will be among the shortlisted candidates. Only the chancellor will choose the rest.
Mm.
What is the meaning? The among the shortlisted candidates, the chancellor is going to select the final candidate. So everything is monopolized. They want to ensure that at all levels of the governance of the higher education sector, they want to ensure that it is, they have a major upper hand. So that means nationalization, centralization, Indian knowledge system, Indian, three-language formula. All these things are indirectly trying to infiltrate into the making it more monopolizing by the agenda of the central government.
Also,
So these are all the major flaws. Yes.
yeah, so you're saying these are, but you also mentioned about the diversity part, that they're trying to, we need diversity in the whole system right now, in the higher education system. And as per the UGC and the draft, and the people who support it, they say that, the non-academicians who have served for like 10 years at senior level in industry positions, public sector undertakings, and have a proven track record of significant academic or scholarly contributions, they can also be eligible for these positions. So what is your opinion there? Because this means that the people who have industry knowledge are coming and taking up the position, which means that they might be able to take up more of practical things and not just the academic part of it. And I think previously we have seen former President K.R. Narayan and scientists become a part of the vice-chancellor, and we have done a good job in their time. So how do you see that? Is it not diverse, or what is your opinion about that?
That is not diversity. Diversity means from all walks of life, representing the total society, and rural, urban, low caste, high caste, all religious sectors. And these are the various denominations of society should be represented in education. and that is diversity. But what they have spelled out, say in faculty, they said uh, uh, faculty of performance, like that the terminology they mentioned that the industry experts, like the terminology I forgot. Sorry, it doesn't strike my mind. So that means that anyone can be appointed, at least up to 10% of the faculty members can be from the practitioners. Okay, no problem. Practitioners means what? So are you going to, so having this premise that you are trying to bring the, the kind of, I would say that the Hindutvawadis, because there must be a loophole for you to infiltrate into the system with your own people to put your agenda, and you are bringing in this loophole as an avenue for you to infiltrate your own people. Sometimes it happens. Say the idea of practitioners to bring into the education as a faculty member, as a professor, it is called a professor of practice or something like that. So there is no problem with that. All over the world, it is in existence. But you will bring that from your own cult, like RSS and the Hindutva, preachers and ideologues. You will bring them into the core education, and you will use this as a mechanism to represent your own vested agenda. So that will happen in India because the Indian universities have no self-restraint to ensure the merit or the to ensure the status quo of the higher education system. So that is one thing. Say, for instance, in vice chancellor appointment, they said that anybody can be appointed as vice chancellor from the industry, from public sector, from public administration like IAS, IPS, and anyone can become vice chancellor now. I would simply laugh at it. Say, the presidents of universities in America are multidimensional. Most of them are academics, and some of them are from the other areas, from industry as well. But they ensure that they have the caliber, they have the understanding and wisdom and the expertise in running the academic show. And because they are self-restrained, they don't want to take this as a granted advantage to infiltrate with their own vested people. Whereas in India, with the given conditions and with you look at the way the union government is behaving now, everywhere in curriculum setting and in pedagogy, in teaching, learning, everywhere they are trying to bring the ideas of Hindutva and Hindutva people. And this is one of the avenues where they can bring anyone, even the kind of Swamijis and Gurujis and the cult-oriented people as vice chancellors. It is easily they will do it, having the history that we have witnessed in the last 10 years in India in higher education. And this is one of the ways and means that they are trying to nullify the merit involved, the merit of the vice chancellor search process, academic. So that means that see, in the past, I think 10, 15 years ago, we have seen the retired IAS officers, IPS officers, and other administrators, and even some colonel, like the retired army officers. Yeah. They were vice chancellors. What did they do? Look at the history. What did they do? What do they understand about education? Even after 30 years, 40 years served as professors in the core academic sector, the professors are largely in India are failing to have the academic qualities and leadership qualities to spearhead the universities required in the 21st century. And being so, how can we expect somebody who is not even aware of what education is about, what is curriculum and what is teaching, learning, what is pedagogy, what is examination, if you are trying to appoint them as vice chancellors, is go hell. It's go hell. It will go hell. Higher education. That is what going to happen in India. And see, you must have education is a social function, madam. Education is social function. It is very flexible. It is informal, and it is formal, and it is very much 360 degrees a confluence of many informal, formal practices where you cannot regulate it with the stringent, strict rules and regulations. It's very much tough.
There has to
But
be some flexibility.
flexibility, but they are bringing this flexibility to ensure that they have upper hand and they want to ensure their own agenda. And that flexibility cannot happen unless the society in India or unless the education sector is self-restrained from violating the fundamental principles and concepts of education. This will happen in India because the people are not self-restrained and they don't own any responsibility and they have no character also in Indian academia I'm talking about. So given any minor small loopholes, it will lead to disaster. And it is highly irreparable. So that is why the um, the eligibility for vice chancellor and the appointment of vice chancellor, everywhere they want to ensure that the central government only takes a decision and it reflects their agenda. So that is what this regulation is about. Other than these few ideas I told you, the rest of the things are normal recruitment procedures. Then why do we need a regulation, such a regulation, at this time when the world is highly changing, rapidly changing, and education is taking altogether a turbulent direction, wherein we need a lot of interventions in recruitment and preparation of teachers in higher education for the challenges that we face. The challenges we face in the 21st century is a highly, becoming a matter of impossibilities nowadays because you see that the knowledge that you deliver, you cater through education now becomes obsolete in the next 2 years. I'm not talking about 4 years. In the next 2 years, the students feel that it is obsolete at the job front. They don't know anything what to do with that. And the artificial intelligence, modern science, technologies, and they are day and night, being transformed to the next level. And whereas the candidates who are looking for jobs and workplace have to have a generic skill, epistemic skill, so that they can recoup with the changing dimensions of the skills. So the skills, whatever the skills that you offer now will not be enough for the job after they completed their studies after 3 years or 4 years. So what are you talking about it? So for this, you need the best possible talented humankind as teachers and academic staff to run the academic sector, the higher education sector in the 21st century. Because the job site, the human production, and accordingly the skills are ever changing.
Yeah.
So that means that the teachers should also be dynamic in nature and they should be diverse in nature and they should be representing all walks of life so that a large discourse of a confluence of, things to happen in the
Skills and
learning,
ideas
teaching, examining,
happen in.
and all those things. Yes. Hmm.
So when you say
So
that,
that is the idea.
so when you say that the idea, like the skills has to be there to be a vice chancellor to have that position, because as a vice chancellor there comes a lot of power and responsibility too. So what are the skills that are required in your opinion to be able to do this in the 21st century, to make the academic space like this?
Yeah. As a vice chancellor, the most important thing, Akshita, for vice chancellor is the academic leadership. Academic leadership quality is a unique quality that a nominal CEO of a company, industry, or a public administrator like IAS, IPS will not do, cannot, because this leadership involves a complete in-depth understanding in the way in which teaching, learning, curricular delivery process happens, And in this discourse, the preparation of teachers, continuous preparation of teachers, and inculcating confidence and capacity building them and taking them towards the future. All these require altogether a social leadership who is balanced with the academic skills and academic, the process, and also he or she must have the vision continually, dynamically to take higher education to the next level every year, now and then, so that because the next 30 years, I see that it's going to be turbulent in higher education in the world. That means the turbulence happens because of the changing dimensions of the human production and the job sector accordingly. And the skill demands are going to be continually new, again and again and again. So accordingly, the dynamism, the flexibility, and the overall,
Workplace
the process and functions by
requirement.
which we take, yeah, the overall dimensions and the process by which we, make a higher education to function should be having a proper leadership. Otherwise, it will be very tough. So, how to ensure that? Simply, a scientist cannot, with the scientific skills, cannot, or academic skills, cannot solely fulfill the job. He or she must have, in addition to the subject knowledge and expertise and all-round, academic skills, he or she must have the social skills and the leadership skills and envisioning the future in accordance with the changing dimensions of the society, economy, and job, everything. So only that kind of people can fit into the VC job. But in my understanding, opinion, I don't see mostly, maybe one or two, I do not know, maybe existing in India. But as far as my experience is concerned, I never seen any vice chancellor in this country in my life. In my life, I'm talking about. So that means that this is already facing a big challenge with lack of leadership crisis in the higher education sector. And you are coming with a new regulation to choose a kind of, based on backward search process. And you are trying to ensure that you have an upper hand. That is it.
So you are
And
saying
you
that
want to select.
the draft
Please.
regulation will not solve the existing problems at all that is there in the appointment of vice chancellors, and it might even not solve the academic issues that come in when we take into place about the future workplace requirements. And this is just going worse, where there is just a control of power, that the it's basically about the government controlling the power and holding space. It becomes a part of the politics more than the academic vision that should have been there. Is it that?
Yeah, they are trying to bring in the political dimension of the process rather than the looking into the academic dimension of the search process. The search process, promotions, everywhere. As I said before, the human resource in the higher education sector is highly backward, and it is highly trailing behind the required skills and competence to serve best in the sector. So this is the problem. See, you look at the government of India's reports. So I'm talking about even the planning commission reports, last 12 commissions reports, and afterwards Niti Aayog and many, they changed. And you look at the government reports, they say that we have a shortage of academicians in this country. We have shortage in general for professor post, for faculty positions.
Yeah.
And so when you have a shortage, where is your search process? You have to interfere with the proper interventions in setting the proper eligibility criteria to get the diverse walks of life into this. And the search process, recruitment, appointment, promotion, everywhere. I don't see anything. Where do you have any intervention? You let me know where is the solution in the total regulation to address these 21st century challenges in finding the best possible talented academicians the country deserves now. It doesn't. So that means there are a lot of things that we need. As I said, that the diversity, as I said, that the competence, as I said, that preparation of teachers and the quality of the teachers beyond their academic merits and the all-round qualities. And there are a lot of things. They say, take for instance, if the 21st century requirement is mainly predominating on epistemic skills, I think thinking skill, decision-making skill,
Critical
judgment
thinking,
skills.
yes.
These are all epistemic skills. Critical thinking, critical thinking. This is an epistemic skill. So that means you need to know, you need to ensure that the teachers have these skills, have proper understanding in imparting education through imbibing certain teaching, learning, pedagogical interventions so that the students get these skills, the critical thinking skills and judgment skills and decision-making skills, problem-solving skills. These are the skills of the 21st century. It is not the Vishwakarma skills. Vishwakarma skills are operational skills, and it becomes obsolete in every 2 years. Whatever the skill that you offer now in computer or in Vishwakarma skills, there are several skill categories the government of India has, prescribed. And these categories, you look at that. If you offer any skill now, the Vishwakarma skill-based education, they call it is Vishwakarma skill, and these skills becomes obsolete. And the government is spending a lot of money on it. And many universities are now directed to focus on skill-based education. What is the skill that you think, do you understand first what type of skills and what is the skill required in 21st century? Every sector I'm talking about. Take about the operational, medium level and the strategic level jobs. All jobs require, irrespective of the nature and type of job categories, they all require epistemic skills. That is critical thinking skills, decision-making, judgment, problem-solving skills. And these skills to impart through education in science, in maths, in engineering, technology, medicine, everywhere, we require a competent faculty to practice suitable pedagogical approaches in teaching learning. Only then the students will get this degree, will get this skills. And do we have this in the report? Any interventions in the search process to ensure that? What is that faculty development, program and the seminar participation and refreshing course? What are you talking about? By expecting the teachers to go through some refreshing course, some seminars, some conferences, you think that they are going to acquire these skills and achieve the competence in being the 21st century professor? Cannot. It's more than that, madam. It is not that easy. Few people sitting in UGC and making fun of the higher education, politicking. Beyond that, I don't see anything in this. It is highly, highly backward. It will take the higher education sector, I think, a centuries back. It should be stopped at once.
So what could be the solution? What could be the alternative of choosing? Because the current system also has a lot of loopholes, like you mentioned, the 2018 system that is being followed. And even now the draft regulations, like you briefly explained how it's so problematic. So what could be the alternative solution that works out?
See, there are few dimensions I would look into it as a solution, because we have to position or redefine the search process, eligibility, setting the eligibility criteria and going through the search process and the promotion, assessment, everything with respect to few dimensions that we are lacking in India at present. Say, for instance, our Indian search process and promotion of faculty members are aimed at in a narrowed fashion with limited quantifiable achievements. Say, let us work from backwards. Say, what are the measures by which a professor is being evaluated, assessed on his or her performance? If you look at that, the UGC has come out with some directions with respect to, say, for instance, like teaching, learning, and publications in reputed journals, and publication of books, and patents, and research grants, and so on. So these are the major dimensions upon which a professor is being evaluated. So my question is that if you expect all faculty members towards this mono-dimensional criteria, then what will happen then? The system will expect or will draw only that kind of faculty, a stereotypic monodimensional, unidimensional, uniform kind of a human resource in the higher education sector. Say, for instance, if a person is an all-rounder in research, teaching, and patents and so on, and granting, so these are all quantifiable, except teaching, learning, the other things are quantifiable. A teacher can easily find maneuver around and find ways and means to do the things, irrespective of the knowledge and competence he or she has or not. So that means the present system is expecting the teachers, the higher education, to to achieve only the narrowed criteria laid out by the union government, the UGC kind of agencies. Accordingly, all universities are following. Whereas, say, for instance, why not? The system should be able to accommodate or recruit and find out, identify the best teacher who is good and best in pedagogy, in teaching, in learning, and also somebody good in research, granting, patenting, and so on. So people of various variety, a diverse set of skills are required in this sector. Yeah, one cannot be expected to be good everywhere, an all-rounder. Some might be good in teaching, learning. Some might be good in research, patenting, and grant seeking, and so on. So that means what is happening now? A teacher is expected to deliver this. So easily, a teacher finds the undergrounds and other, shortcut methods to publish more papers. Whether he has knowledge or not, that's another issue. Easily, you can do it nowadays.
So just
And with the
about
advent of
publishing
artificial
the
intelligence,
paper. It's not about understanding the problems of the society and the workplace and being able to find a solution, but it's just that getting papers in their name.
yes, just only the raw terms. How many papers you published? How many research grants you secured? And what are the patents you have filed? And these are all the major dimensions that decides the fate of the promotion. So that means that all are expected to be good everywhere, but they are trying to take advantage and find out ways and means, like shortcut ways and means to secure this. And whoever is able to maneuver around to achieve this becomes professors, vice chancellors. So that is where I think that we have to interfere into. So there is no such a flexibility there in the system, in the promotions, in the search process, in the eligibility process. And another thing is, why do you want to have, say, this regulation said the discipline in which the tertiary degree has been completed by a candidate is considered as eligibility for certain disciplines. Why do you want to recruit people exclusively on disciplinary basis? Of course, discipline matters. And sometimes some courses, some programs require diverse interdisciplinary expertise.
Yeah.
And that expertise, somebody would have done first degree in the BE and in the ME and postgraduate, some other degrees related to it, interdisciplinary, and some other degrees, some other programs in PhD. So that means that diversity sometimes require, and you have to, the recruitment, the eligibility should be, looking at that way, that it in cases where require, it allows the diverse qualifications at the entry point, whereas the present system doesn't. It says that irrespective of what you did in first degree and PG, in your PhD, if you had done something X or Y program, only that will be considered, the rest will be ignored. And that is the crude form. And especially no knowledge is now mono-dimensional. All are interdisciplinary in nature nowadays. And so that means that is another major flaw. So where is the flexibility there? And this flexibility is decided by whom? It is by the university. Only university knows what sort of diverse skills required, expected of the candidate, and diverse disciplinary knowledge expected of the candidate. Who knows that? Only the university knows. But you are sitting in Delhi and deciding on this, and whereas only by your virtue, by your standard, all universities will be directed to find and consider only the tertiary degree, wherein whatever the discipline that they have completed, they have pursued, will be accounted. The rest will be ignored. And this rigidity will, will impede and will become an obstruction, will obstruct in finding the right candidates. So this is another dimension. So that means what my question is very simple. What are the competences and knowledge, expertise, qualities required, attitudes, behavior required and expected of potential teachers in higher education? Considering the 21st century requirements, you have to decide what they are. And accordingly, you set the criteria, eligibility criteria, and accordingly, you give directions for, recruitment, promotion, and so on. So right from the search process, recruitment, promotions, termination, and retirement, throughout this progression life cycle of the academic period, all should be, evaluated, assessed based on the common
Holistic
end goal
approach.
that we expect of them, the holistic approach. And without that, I think that it is going to be a disaster. It is highly backward. That's why I'm saying that it has to be we have to revamp the whole system all round based on the requirements of the 21st century and the qualities, skills, competence, and the knowledge required. And say, when you say that we consider in promotion only your papers being published in reputed journals, then people know easily with artificial intelligence and many other softwares, easily one can write a paper now, very easily. And easily you have so many paid journals and many shortcut methods, you can even publish in some quality journals nowadays. And whether you have this stuff or not. So I think that these are all maybe some tangible measures you can use, but the main measures, what this country about, India, and what are the expectations of, the higher education sector in capacity building the people, a society, awakening the society, educating the society, making them instrumental to contribute to the nation, to the economy, and all other things. You know that. And accordingly, you decide what sort of professors and faculty members required for higher education sector. Why do you follow blindly the other countries? I think that localization is very much important. The other major dimension is leave it to the local. Let the states decide. They know because they have a lot of problems and they know the conditions of the state. They know why these universities are running, in what dimensions expected of the state's desires and objectives. And accordingly, the state governments and state authorities and the universities wherein should have a major say and role in selecting, promoting, retaining, and terminating the faculty members. And you should not come in the way. And why do you want to have after all, you think that the nominee of UGC will be the Superman? And without that kind of Superman, you cannot identify the best talented teaching faculty. Do you think so? So it is only politicking. You are centralizing and you want to have a politically an upper hand to ensure that your man serves everywhere, all around the universities in India. I think so. These are all the major concerns that we have to keep in mind in setting this the eligibility criteria, recruitment, promotion, and so on. And especially the vice-chancellor appointment is highly misleading. Highly misleading. It is going to be disastrous for the university education in India.
So just to put into perspective, like what we discussed today, the problem with the current UGC draft regulations is that it can lead to Hinduization of the whole Indian education system. There could be more central power, and it doesn't really ensure that talented, equipped people are managing and teaching in the academic space. And the solution could be to, of course, let the local have their own ways of doing these things. Let the states decide about the appointment, promotion. And even in that, the idea should stem from thinking about the skills that are required in the future and how the students can be learned. So the overall skills of the teachers and the industry must be measured to ensure that it's being taught to the next generation, it's being implemented. Is that right?
See, what we are looking for is new competence, new knowledge, and new skill every then and now. And it is going to be dynamic. And this is what the 21st century is about. And for that, we are going to have teachers to prepare the students ready for that challenge, for new competence, new knowledge, and new skills. And for that matter, we need to have the teachers with the new knowledge, new competence, new skills every now and then. Only then these teachers will prepare the students ready for that challenge. So do we have any answers in this regulation or not? Not. Nothing in there in this line of thought. So this is what this country now requires. I think that this regulation is wrong and it is misleading and it is highly backward. It must be eliminated.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your opinion and explaining in such detail about the flaws of the current regulation and how it can be improved as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akshita. Thank you very much. Bye.